Welcome back, guys. This is Alex Himes with the Ruckus. Today I'm doing the show from my house because I'm a little under the weather with a throat issue. Maybe fever, maybe not. We'll find out, hopefully not. So we're going to start off today's show with going in with the Celtics as usual. And today I am happy to announce that we made a big signing, a free agent signing, and that is Greg Monroe. Or at least he intends to sign with the Celtics. So Greg Monroe is now a free agent, or was a free agent, after being let go of the Phoenix Suns, and he had interest from a couple teams from around the association. Thankfully, the Celtics were able to snag him before anyone else could, and utilizing the $5 million from the disabled players exemption that they acquired from the Gordon Hayward injury at the beginning of the season. So let's just get to know the new Celtic. So Greg Monroe has been averaging 11.2 points per game and 8 rebounds per game on 23 minutes this year, and overall has averaged a double-double for his career. He's a great player. I've got to tell you, I've been one of the proponents who said way back when the Celtics still had some of their old members from the old regime that they should try and acquire Greg Monroe, and thankfully they didn't do it because they would have to move pieces to get him. But here they sign him as a free agent outright for $5 million, and they are getting a great value for who he is. Greg Monroe has posted a ranked 39 in player efficiency rating, and there's only one other Celtic ahead of him, and that's for this season, and that happens to be Kyrie Irving. So at that point, we have two players in the top 50 of player efficiency rating now playing on the same roster, of which at a position we definitely need, because we need to have someone that can offensive rebound, who can just rebound in general, add some more points in the post, and play very well alongside Al Horford, giving him someone new to pass to and dish to. Similarly to how everyone's been talking about how this guy's defense is kind of all over the map, really isn't that great of a defender, look back at how Kendrick Perkins was made to look like a defensive animal with Kevin Garnett. So if you have Al Horford alongside you, he's made every other dude next to him look that much better. I can see the same thing happening here. He will cover his defensive liabilities and make him look that much better on the offensive end because he can knock down shots when we need him, and he's a big body that'll go down and bruise. Similarly, also how we masked Isaiah Thomas last season with guys like Marcus Smart, Terry Rozier, Bradley, not to mention Avery Bradley. Shout out to Bradley, though. And this will allow the Celtics to play smaller lineups when they need to and play big lineups when they have bigger teams like Oklahoma City and these other guys who really play big with bigger guys. So I'm super stoked about this signing. It's going to be a very big difference, I believe, for the Celtics. I think that down the road he'll be an X factor of sorts in some way, shape, or form for these guys because he just is too valuable, and he's an invaluable asset to the Celtics and what they need this year. It'll just be interesting to see where they go. Next, we're going to talk about Terry Rozier. And now, the reason why I'm talking about Terry Rozier, and I've seen this coming for a while now, the Louisville product has just proven his worth time and time again. I remember when he was drafted 16th in the first round thinking, why do we need another point guard? Well, here we are, 2017, Terry Rozier gets his first start of his career, and in his first start, what does he do? He scores a triple-double, 17, 11, and 10. First career start, the man drops a triple-double and is playing very well. He's just such a great glue guy for the Celtics team on both the offensive and defensive end. He is an invaluable asset, so much so that Marcus Smart is now being shopped for a first-round pick before the deadline to acquire other dudes because Terry Rozier can do everything Marcus Smart can. Plus, he's an offensive dynamo. This cat is going to get paid. P-A-I-D, paid. Once he hits free agency at some point, they're going to get the dump trucks of money out for him, like Isaiah Thomas said. Terry Rozier is a next-level guy who's going to be starting in the league one day, and this is where the dilemma comes in. Well, if you're the Boston Celtics, do you buy low and sell high again? Terry Rozier is definitely going to start in this league at some point, and he's not going to always be willing to play behind Kyrie Irving, even though Irving is a stud. So, naturally, they're going to have to do what they're doing right now with Marcus Smart. Move the guy, capitalize on him while they can. Do what they did similarly with Avery Bradley. Before he hits the open market, they're going to have to trade Terry Rozier. He's too much of a valuable asset, and we've seen how his name has popped up in deadlines from the last couple of years, and now everyone's kind of starting to see why that is. Well, Terry Rozier at some point is going to be a great player. I think he's got another year or two under his deal, rookie deal. And if that's the case, the Celtics are going to have to come up with something in the next year or two, potentially even before this deadline, about moving him. But I would be surprised, that's right, I would be surprised if he is not on the roster past this deadline. So moving forward, I got to start this part off. This is very sad for me to break, but Most of you know who pay attention around the NBA, Rasual Butler and his wife passed away, unfortunately, last week. Rasual Butler and his wife, Leah LaBelle, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, died last Wednesday, January 31st, in a car accident in Studio City. This is about 10 minutes away from where I'm from, so it really touches home. And I just want to send my prayers to both their families and say that the NBA family not only cares about you, but we all wish you the best. We are with you and sending our strong, positive vibes your way. Rasual was drafted 53rd overall in 2002 and played for the Miami Heat, the New Orleans Hornets, the Clippers, the Bulls, the Pacers, Wizards, and Spurs. And throughout his career, he had been loved by everyone everywhere, and there's so many guys from the Philadelphia area who have come forward and said that he was one of the real reasons why the guys from Philly got that revitalized juice and faith that they could make it. They were on the come up too. So many blessings to Rasual Butler and Leah LaBelle, sending my prayers and best wishes your way. And the same thing now, we're going to move forward to Isaiah Cannon. I'm sending my best wishes to this man. Unfortunately, he was injured in a game against Phoenix and Dallas the other day, suffered a horrific left leg fracture, similar, almost identical to the Gordon Hayward injury. So I want to send my thoughts and prayers to Isaiah Cannon as well. Speedy recovery, man. If Gordon Hayward can get back on the court within the next 3-4 months like he's already started doing, I'm sure you'll be back on the court rocking it next season. So hopefully, here's to a great season in Phoenix next year for you, Isaiah. So let's talk about LeBron and these Golden State rumors. No, and no! It's not happening. There's no point even having the discussion. Come on, people. If LeBron James really wanted to go to the Golden State Warriors, he would become the next snake. He would be worse than how we all treated Kevin Durant when he left Westbrook and Oklahoma City for Golden State. There's not a chance in hell this guy will leave Cleveland for Golden State. Let's just get this off right. There's not a chance that he would join those guys when he already needs the ball as much as he does to play with those guys. I'm sure we all like to think that he might be willing to do something like that, considering he drafted KD #1 overall for the All-Star game. But hell no, it's not happening, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just be the first to tell you. Now, the one thing I will note is the rumor's out there for a reason. Whether it be for LeBron, whether it be for someone else, it's out there for a reason. And I'm going to be the guy who plays who's playing the speculation game right now. So tune in, ladies and gentlemen. Here it is. My speculation is, my magic crystal ball is showing LeBron James leaked this rumor intentionally so he would make a point to the Cavaliers. And that point being, I can go anywhere I want. I can go anywhere. Any team would love to have me. Any team would make room to have me. And that's the truth. If Golden State made room to get LeBron, he'd take a look and a nod. I doubt he would ever go there, but it's the point and the respect that the team is giving him and doing their due diligence in trying to attract him. So Cleveland, watch out. LeBron might be on the move, and if he is, it's going to really suck in the long run when you guys take a look back at this season and realize you didn't do everything you could to keep him. So moving forward, we got another couple topics to discuss, and the next one is Blake Griffin in Oklahoma City, and why the hell did Oklahoma City turn down this trade? So, if many of you haven't heard, Blake Griffin from the Clippers was offered to Oklahoma City in exchange for Paul George before the trade that was pulled by the Clippers and the Pistons. Now, I don't know about you, but I had to sit there for a moment, kind of collect my thoughts before I started screaming, "Why not?" repeatedly. So, Blake Griffin would have been traded in exchange for Paul George, and that would have been an attempt to please Paul George, try and convince him to re-sign with the Clippers because he's back in LA, back at home, and he could potentially play with LeBron and a couple of the other guys that they could acquire this free agency period when they have a lot of money to play with. So, what do I think? Oh my God. Well, here's what I think, ladies and gentlemen. I think that Oklahoma City fucked up. 100%. All the signs are there to take this guy. One, you have Paul George, who is going to be a free agent this summer, has been speculated numerous times that he would go to Los Angeles and spur you guys and leave you with nothing in return. So that right off the bat is definitely something I would take into heavy consideration. Two, you need a guy who can fill the power forward position considering this whole lineup that they've been playing with Melo at the power forward and changing all these other lineups hasn't worked at all this season. Change it up. Look at how Detroit is already doing with Blake. They haven't lost since he's been acquired. So if you think that this is bad, look at what you have now. You should have made the deal. Paul George is a free agent. Blake Griffin might be injury prone, so if I'm the Clippers, getting rid of him made sense. And if I'm the Thunder, taking on a guy who is from the Oklahoma area, went to Oklahoma, and is beloved by the community, on top of that, is signed long-term for the next couple of years, it only makes sense. Why turn this down? There's either something behind the scenes that we don't know about, or Sam Presti is just gone. I can't even put it into words how aggravated I am thinking about the fact that they turned down an offer for Blake Griffin for Paul George. It only makes sense. Come on, even in my notes, there isn't much here other than saying it doesn't make sense. And good for the Detroit Pistons because they picked up a very good player who I've been critical on. And I know I have, but they are still playing well and at a high level right now. It won't last, and they might get in the playoffs as the 8th or 7th seed, but definitely they've done their part, and looks like the Clippers are still doing their part in free agency right now. So I want to talk about the Two Bills documentary that was done for 30 for 30 that just came out on ESPN. Now, I'm not necessarily the biggest fans of some of the 30 for 30s that have come out, but I have to say, this is such a well-done documentary discussing the relationship of Bill Parcells and Bill Belichick. And it's insane to see their relationship and to see how Bill Belichick was kind of molded by these different systems and coming up from literally the bottom to being the top guy at one point in Cleveland, to being the top guy with the Jets for 3 minutes, to being with the Giants for a little bit, and then ultimately making his way to New England. It's such a well-done documentary, and I feel like the biggest point that I want to make about it is that clearly the media over-exacerbated their entire relationship, their quote-unquote falling out, their issues in the past. These are two guys who view it as once they have made their point and they're done talking, they shake on it and they walk away. Well, look at what the media was claiming. They were claiming that they were never friends, they were never close, that Belichick really didn't like Parcells, that things were said between them that we don't know about or not even privy to. We don't know this as both fans and media members. We don't know all these things, and we're just speculating. It's like the mind games that you play when you get out of a relationship and you look back and you wonder how you could have done one thing better and one thing not. It doesn't make sense. These guys are very good friends, and they're still good friends to this day, and it looks like they're even better friends after this documentary. And I've got to say, if there's any recommendation I can make, it is watch the Two Bills documentaries to where you can see the molding of the now 5-time Super Bowl winner, unfortunately, 5-time Super Bowl winner Bill Belichick, and understand who he is as a man and also get kind of an insight of who he is as a football coach. There's nothing crazier to understand than seeing this guy in action. I'm telling you, I loved watching this 30 for 30. I couldn't recommend it anymore. And lastly on today's set list, so today we're going to talk about Chris Paul setting the record straight. What do I mean? Well, Chris Paul demolished LeBron James and the Cavaliers. That is right. Chris Paul demolished. That's the word I'm going to use. They demolished them. And after the game, Chris Paul came out to discuss LeBron James. And what did he say? His exact words were, "You've got LeBron James over there in that locker room." You know what I mean? What else does a man need to do? You don't take it for granted, man. Don't take it for granted. And going back to what I said maybe 5 minutes ago about this Golden State rumor, there's a point. Chris Paul's making the point again to Cleveland, just hammering the nail down again. They need to be very careful, and they need to be studious coming up to this trade deadline. Whatever decisions that they plan on making directly correlate to their future and the potential that LeBron James stays, leaves, and here we are. We've got the rumor today that he wasn't willing to waive his no-trade clause. Makes sense. He wants all the power in this situation. And LeBron definitely has all the power. He has the keys to this car. Chris Paul's making the point stating, do everything you can while you have him, because once he's gone, basically this summer, and ensuring it's this summer, then basically you got nothing left. And if there's anyone I believe most, it's Chris Paul, considering he's the Banana Boat Gang, he's one of LeBron James's oldest good friends. And in the NBA, they only got a couple good friends. And if the good friends are stating to the public something like that, clearly there's some merit behind it. And Cleveland better watch out. My final rant is towards Max Kellerman of First Take. Max, you've been talking about how Tom Brady's going to have this cliffhanger fall. He's going to fall off the cliff and be the worst at some point, and just like every other quarterback we've seen, or quote-unquote seen at that age, take a deep dip in productivity and production, and then ultimately retire. Well, here, man, I'm here to tell you, your prediction of an 18-month fall-off has passed. It is passed in January. It is now February. What happened the other day? Brady dropped over 500 passing yards in a Super Bowl. The only reason why the Patriots were even remotely close to winning the Super Bowl or even keeping the score close was because of the heroics of Tom Brady. No matter what you say, no matter what retort you have, Max Kellerman, it doesn't apply here. I understand what you're trying to do. You're trying to be the first guy on the job that says, oh, he's getting old, he's getting tired, he's going to fall off the cliff. You want to be that guy who tells everyone, yep, Brady hit the cliff. But you're going to be that dude in 3 years from now telling us Brady hit the cliff. We get it, man. You want to be the first guy on the scene to make a point, to talk and tell it like it is, but you're making a point that can be ambiguously applied to almost any player in the NFL. James Harrison, 40 years old. Oh, he's going to fall off a cliff next season. Possibly. I don't know. I can't make predictions. Brady is a different breed. The way he treats his body, the way he cares for his body is unlike any football player we've ever seen. So any evidence that you can use from your math, from your statistics, and from what you've seen isn't the same and can't be applied to Brady. And we've proven that, and he proved that specifically in this last Super Bowl. So Max, let me know what you think. Is it really going to be a cliffhanger? Because last time I checked, that cliff was, a little while ago, and I think he's pretty much just proven that he can walk on water at this point. So everyone, thanks for tuning in today. I really appreciate it. I'll catch you next week back in the studio. Have a good one, guys.